All right, this is the Peter at the Burkle Farm. I thought I'd just kind of give a brief intro video. This will be a couple of years in progress. Sorry, dropped my glove. We rented this field from a local farmer. I think I've mentioned it in the past. And this is kind of our entry point into showing him how we can farm. And it is in rough shape. This was kind of just used as a walkout pasture for his dairy cows. And some of these guys, the steers he kept were 2,000, 2,200 pounds, he said. And it is just pugged badly and eaten down to nothing but weeds. So I'm doing something I've never done before, which is I got my neighbor Nick to do some custom tillage for me because it is so bumpy. I think I'm going to snap an ankle if I walk out here. And so that's Nick out there, and you can see my son in the distance. He's picking up rocks for us. It's a way to earn some money. But this field goes from the road all the way out, and then it goes out that way. It's about a 12-acre field, give or take. And some of it's in better shape than others. Here you can see the rest. I put up a temporary fence to keep his steers from kind of bothering us. And you know, we're doing some light tillage. We're gonna rip it to get rid of these giant pugs, and then disc it, and I'm gonna seed it this fall after the frost, so it'll all come up next spring. And just in this section where we are now, and then around past the turn, it's not too bad, and I'm just gonna mow it this fall and then start grazing it next year as a means of improvement. Might feed some hay out here with the animals just to give it a carbon kickstart. But this isn't from tillage. This is just from the cows beating it to death. You know, and he wasn't trying to graze it. It was just an exercise yard for his dairy cows. And he's a really great guy. And so I want to use this as a test to show him how the way I farm can really beautify his front field here up against the road. And Nick's got this field is so bad, Nick's got a big ripper on his Alice Chalmers, and and we're just taking it down, which is pretty destructive. Then we're gonna disc it and seed it, and give it a lot of rest early on next year. I don't really plan to come here until June, more than likely. So it'll be interesting to show you this as we come through here. But you know, there's some clover from the cattle, you know, coming out here, but just tons of weeds, tons of thistles, and yeah, it's gonna be a work in progress. I just thought I'd show that to you. I'm starting to put in, I don't know if you can see it over here, I'm starting to put in some new fence corners. I'm gonna leave his barbed wire fence up and just fence it a foot off with a high tensile 4-wire fence like at the home farm. Yeah, it's gonna be something else. We'll I'll add this video on to probably me moving the sheep tonight, just to show maybe the contrast. Yeah, Nick's having a hell of a time. He said it's very bumpy riding around in that cab. Pretty crazy stuff. That's about, I think he said that's 110 horse Alice, and it is working. It is working hard. I'm just gonna come around to get a quick shot of it. You can see Nick bouncing around in there. he's doing some work here. So I know this doesn't look too bad, but these divots are about 6 inches deep. And if we get out there, there's cracks and divots about 1.5 feet deep. They go up to my knee. And it's just untenable for me to get back there and do the work I want to do. And you can just see the carpet of thistles. And it's even more out here, but it'll be good. We'll show this as we work on it, and we'll be putting in fence, and we'll be reseeding this and putting hay down, and we'll just see how it all goes. All right, signing off. All right, so it's later that evening, and this is some proper impact. You can see this is the line. I just moved them into this. This is a pretty nice bunch of grass. It's I don't know, it's about 18 inches long. Alfalfa, clover, all the good grasses. And just look at this impact. The amount of, this is what they've all trampled down. Look at this. I mean, it's the litter bank. It's just gonna be great. This is what I wanted to do for this field, is just keep it tight. They did 2 moves today, so this is their strip for tonight, and then until after church tomorrow. And pardon the noise, we have construction crews redoing our highway, and they're being loud. Here, I'll take a little shot. And there's the pilot truck. There's a bulldozer. The cattle and the sheep don't seem to mind. So it's a beautiful evening. It's in the low 60s. It's definitely fall in Minnesota. And we're taking our last pass through this field because this is such a heavy legume field that, you know, this stuff will start dying off as we start bumping up against the frost state. So I wanted to really hit it intensively. And this is our steer. You can see he is just about as fat as you'd like a steer to be. We are looking forward to him. He's gone next week, I think. We have a really great setup here in the Lonsdale area, where a fellow named Brian has all these trailers with insulated coolers built onto them, and he just brings one to your house, plugs it into your power, and we walk out. He shoots the cow. So the cow is shot in the field like this. It's processed on the farm, and you know, it's obviously for our consumption only, but and then it's hung and aged, you know, for as long as we want to, because it's coming off of our power. We usually do 10 to 14 days depending, and then sometimes, I think so far we've been butchered everything ourselves after it's hung in the cooler, but I think this time we're gonna have Brian do it and see how we like it. And he definitely knows what he's doing, and we're kind of amateur hour, so it'll be nice to see non-raggedy steaks and roast and that type of thing. There'll be less trim to turn into hamburger, hopefully. But this is our ewe flock. They are looking fantastic. Once again, this is kind of what I just turned them into, and this is what they had today. It's just, this is the kind of disturbance with, you know, when we have manure pats everywhere from the cows, and it's just about right. So this field is going to come back in abundance year over year by doing this. It's really what we're looking for. But I am tired. I've been fencing out at the new leased property that we have, and helping my neighbor, who was, my neighbor was helping me in that he brought his tractor and his came over to that property and ripped it up and then dissed it, and then I'm gonna let it dry out a little, and I'll drill some grass and legume mix in there. And it's the first time I've ever had something tilled up. I have mixed feelings about it, but I also don't know quite what to do with a pasture with knee-high divots in it from dairy cattle. So it seemed like the lesser of two evils for me. But I hope you all have a good evening. I'm probably gonna have to quit filming because it's, I don't know, 7 o'clock is sunset right now. The seasons are changing, but the animals are fat and happy. I mean, look at, I keep going on, but look at this steer. Every time he takes a bite, his butt just wiggles. This is a half Highland, half Angus, which is why you see the furry ears, the long tail, and some of that. Not an aggressive animal at all. He's really nice. He's just a little spooky. He doesn't like me getting much closer than this. Look at the fat on the tail head. This is all grass. I'm sure I haven't quite figured out what to do as far as bringing myself to buy one of these nice grass-fed genetics, but I've been getting by so far with local genetics and just good management. I mean, he is fat. And you can just hear, I'll stop talking, you can hear the rip, rip, rip as he's going to town with his dinner. All right, have a good evening, folks.